Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. Well, we're seeing a little bit of noise here in the market just before the open. All my charts are being weird. Ninja Trader, why you weird? Why you being weird? There we go. Okay, so they did tick down on the open, but it'd make me want to take it. So here's the thing. I'm gonna have to step out a little bit to take the kids to school today. They have like an early morning thing, so normally it would be like I would go and take them to school at the end of the session anyways, but today I have to take them an hour earlier. So at about 7:30, we'll have to step out, be right back. It's like a quick 1-minute drive or whatever. But because of that, I'm a little weary about putting too much risk on the table. Back up again. So, plus it's Monday, and I don't know. I don't know if there's a really reason for me to be significantly involved today. Although there are some big guys out there, so we should keep an eye on it. Okay? Let's go look at the chart just really quickly here. You can see we're within Friday's range in the Treasuries. E-mini appears to have recovered somewhat significantly from this huge sell that we had. This was, I think, primarily because there's reports that the administration is going to clamp down on Chinese investments, preventing them from like listing their stuff on the exchange and stuff. So their companies. So yeah. They're ticking back and forth a lot. I don't know if I have enough to take a reversal here. It's kind of a tricky open, I think. And then the other thing is I do have a video coming out today, so it'll go about the time that I have to step out. So I'll come back and then I'll give you guys the link and we'll go and, we'll post it everywhere and stuff. But it's on technical analysis, so there's that. It feels like that they're trying to churn it around to get people going in. I mean, the big orders are there. Direction seems unclear to me, but the big orders are there. So that makes it really hard to know which way it's going to go. Let's try pulling in our levels. Okay. So the opening range is really high as well. So that kind of makes it even harder for us. Oh, let's turn the bot on. There we go. I don't know. Seems a little off. Oh, Donald Trump had tweeted something 10 minutes ago. Representative Adam Schiff illegally made up a fake and terrible statement, pretended it to be mine, and as the most important part of my call to the Ukrainian president, and read it aloud to Congress and the American people. It bore no relationship to what I said on the call. Arrest for treason? Fake whistleblower campaign is not holding up. It is mostly about the call to the Ukrainian president, which, in the name of transparency, I immediately released to Congress and the public. The whistleblower knew almost nothing. Its second-hand description of the call is a fraud. Kevin McCarthy, the whistleblower, wasn't on the call. The inspector general didn't read the transcript before acting on the whistleblower complaint. The White House released a transcript which clearly shows the president did nothing that would be impeachable. Problem with that is that the Democrats don't agree with that one, right? The Democrats think that what is in the call is totally impeachable. I don't think that it is, but they're clearly going to try. I'm also seeing headlines coming through about him threatening civil war, which I think is an inaccurate. So somebody said on Fox that, if they tried to impeach him off of this, that it would lead to a civil war, and Donald Trump tweeted that, which isn't really threatening civil war, but I mean, come on, guys. Probably not a very responsible thing to say, but it's not a threat. That's fake news. Now they're doing it on the other side too. Okay, so let's just watch it here and see if they work something out. So we can see the E-minis sold a little bit there, but then the Treasuries ticked down as well. Sorry, there's no way to spin this. It's not five-dimensional chess. It's a sanity shift stunt was cheap and dumb, but it's not treason or illegal if Trump was just a reality TV star who would care, but he is president. I don't even know if it matters because he's president. Eli, like, it's not what I would say. If I was president, the position I would take would probably be something like, well, we have a constitutional system with checks and balances, and the opposition party is intended to be a check, and they're supposed to, do everything that they can to oppose the majority party or whatever. They're just, that's their job, and they can use whatever they want to try and to try and convince the public that they're right, and that could even include impeachment, although I don't think it's very wise. And so, of course, they're going to go for impeachment, and I don't think it's going to work, and they'll be punished for it. But I wouldn't be taking well, this is treason, although I do kind of wonder if Adam Schiff is involved in some shenanigans here. Because it sure does seem like he had the complaint before it was made public. which doesn't sit right with me. But treason, no. But like, is it like a huge deal? He says that now. I don't think so. He's just playing to the base. I don't think that there's any serious harm come of it. Maybe somebody will prove me wrong and do something dumb, but 060. You know, there's been a lot of volume here in this location over the past few weeks. Hasn't there? Yes, there has. If we moved up, like the next step up is like up at 08. So yeah, this is like this market has become bracketed, I think. So just check here, Forex Factory. Oh, we have Chicago PMI today at 745. That's a pretty important number too. So maybe we'll get something then. Well, hit bigger miss and Discord seems to want to buy it. So it gave me two quick, reliable signals there. That's interesting. I know that 07.5 though. How many times have I taken a trade at 07.5 in the past week? You could have bought it. We could have bought that one. That would have been a really. No way. I don't think I could handle the stress. We're doing okay there on YouTube, by the way. I do see, well, I see Wynn's comment this morning. I hope you and Mr. Soon enough to be. Speculator says the mother of his child had a very good weekend. The date needs to be updated. I did update the date. After many years, the United States is finally waking up to Beijing's plans and ambitions to pass us as the dominant economic and military superpower in the 21st century. What's happening now is that the U.S. is finally responding. Thank you, President Trump. This is taking place in trade. It's taking shape in military competition. Jonathan Ward, author and China expert. We are winning, and we will win. They should not have broken the deal we had with them. Happy birthday, China. Wait, what? That's how he's gonna start out the whole. That's not. I think that tweet is a little bearish for the stock market because he should be trying to play nice and just let them get through with their celebration, and then when they're done with their celebration, maybe they'll make a deal. Instead, he's saber rattling right at the beginning of it. I don't know. Although that one wasn't really intended for the Chinese, that was definitely intended for the American public. Cory Booker says his presidential campaign meets its 1.7 million fundraising goal overnight. Booker was ready to drop out of the 2020 race if he couldn't beat his goal by the end of the day. Now his campaign continues. Oh, big surprise. This guy. It's telling me short again. Let's see. The repo rate soars as Fed accepts $63.5 billion in collateral on last day of QE3. And they tick up again. So that one does look like that one was a continuation from 07. Although it can always turn. I'm going to say no.
Twitch Dojo 2022. When China was about to open up during the Nixon administration, the US and China both agreed that it would be acceptable for China to continue bashing the US in their state media until the public got used to China-US diplomacy. Twitch Dojo 2022. There's always a backstory.
Yeah, Dojo, it really tells you a lot about the way the Chinese government looks at their people too, right? Okay, now that I've finished stuffing my face, they did get through that 08. There wasn't a whole lot of. Well, it took about 5,000. They could still try and turn down, though. And this move has been accompanied by a E-mini move down. Pretty decent downtrend in the E-mini. Now Donald Trump has tweeted again. The president of Ukraine said there was zero pressure put on him by me, end of case. So he is now going back and forth between China and Ukraine. What's the deal? Well, that's kind of weird, right? I'm wondering maybe he's being super ADHD. He's reading stuff and he's responding to things as he's reading them, or maybe he had some tweets already put in the system and then he felt like tweeting more stuff. I don't know. Chippy lawmaker says government should be protecting
YouTube, Wimmer Kevin. So do you think Trump is going to be impeached? As a German, I just looked into our polities and our world news, and well, they seem to be certain.
So the probability that impeachment proceedings in the Senate begin are pretty high. I'm going to say better than 50%. But will they remove him from office? No. So you got to remember the way that this typically has worked is the House of Representatives will have a vote to start an impeachment inquiry, and then they will kind of do their preliminary investigation to generate articles of impeachment, and then they will vote on the articles of impeachment and send them to the Senate. So the articles of impeachment is the first big question mark, because, you know, they have to pass that for it to go to the Senate first. Could they pass that? Well, there's enough of a Democrat majority in Congress that probably they will pass those. And I think it only requires a simple majority. But then when you get to the Senate, it's unlikely that they would get the 2/3 majority necessary to remove Donald Trump from office. You would need tons of Republicans to get on board with it, and I just don't think that they're going to. Not with the information that they have. This seems like a lot of people are talking about his tweets for sure. It's certainly triggering people. I can see all up on it from Hot Air is all triggered about it. But it's very clear, and in case nobody ever, if you ever visit that website, probably not, but that all abundant guy is like a hardcore never Trumper. He kind of plays it off like that he's not, or that he's balanced, but he's totally not. Like everything that he posts is kind of like a slide dig at the president. Stock slump after Navarro-Trump trade comments. Maybe that's why they're moving. Could be. Kind of feels to me, though, like the big players are making moves regardless.
YouTube, Wimmer Kevin. Do you think he should be impeached if the allegations are true?
Personally, I don't. So, let's define the allegations are true, right? So the allegation is that he spoke, if the allegation is he spoke to the Ukrainian president about investigating Joe Biden. That's the allegation. Okay, so first of all, the allegation is true. It's unquestionable because he admits that they talked about it. Okay? It's not impeachable, in my opinion, no. Because number one, it's not a campaign finance violation. That's what they're saying. It's not a campaign finance violation. Okay? Campaign finance violations aren't impeachable anyways. And I think that there was a legitimate reason to be talking to them about investigating Joe Biden. Very clearly, it's the whole Joe Biden story over there just doesn't match up, okay? Like this, his son, okay? His son basically kicked out of the military for substance abuse. And then he goes and gets a job with a Ukrainian company. He doesn't speak Ukrainian. He doesn't know anything about the Ukraine, and they're paying him $50,000 a month salary. Can you believe that? That is so much money. That is, 10 times what it would 10 times, 1/10 of that would be good income in most of the United States, right? They're paying him $50,000 a month for what? For some military dropout to do who knows what. And they're saying there's not something investigatable there? Certainly there is. And the Ukrainian prosecutor says he claimed in court under oath that he believes the reason he was fired was because of that story. So I think, and when he brought it up to the Ukrainian president basically said, yeah, we want to get to the bottom of it as well, and we think that we should look into it as well. So I think that it was completely appropriate for him to be talking about it. And the explanation that this is soliciting foreign interference in an election is just ridiculous, in my view. Okay. So unless there is more information that comes out that turns out to be extremely damning to the president, I don't think there's any way that they remove him from office. And as long as Donald Trump doesn't do anything stupid through it, which we can't count that out. The president is impulsive. Okay, let's get that clear. I like the president, but my position is he's impulsive. Okay. So as long as he doesn't do anything terribly crazy during all of this, I think that he will come out of it unscathed and stronger, frankly. Now there's another thing that I want to bring up, and that was about to the question, will they impeach him? Because I'm looking at like the predict it. In fact, we should go over there and look at predictit.org. Impeachment predict now. Okay, so they're predicting right now they've got a 70% chance. Okay. I kind of thought that 60% was a little bit high, but things have kind of changed a little bit since I thought that. So here's the deal. Nancy Pelosi is doing something different, something that I don't necessarily agree with, and we'll see what happens. But normally, the House of Representatives would have a vote, and in that vote, they would determine if they wanted to start an inquiry or not. They would have a vote on whether there's an official inquiry or not, and they never had that vote. And so they're running an inquiry without the starting traditional starting vote. So it could be, okay, the Senate requests information that the executive branch claims executive privilege over. So then they say, well, yes, but it's an impeachment inquiry, so you have to give it. And then the administration says, no, it's not an impeachment inquiry. You guys never voted on that. So it falls under executive privilege until you vote for an impeachment inquiry. Then will Nancy do it? Because right now she is not doing it. She's kind of doing it on the sly. And I think there are some kind of, what is the word? There's kind of some shrewd political reasons why she's not doing it. Partly to avoid some procedural stuff. So so that's the first big question that you're going to see come up is, are the courts going to force the House of Representatives to have a vote on it, there being an impeachment inquiry? Luke Blatt tried to join when I saw that seller put out his chest at 09.5, but missed it. So when I saw that one, there was a signal, and then they went up two more, and then they stopped, and they turned around, and they've come completely back. I suspect, though, Donald Trump has been tweeting. Hard to say. Because of the volume, and now that we're back, we could have an extended sell. If they sell this, they could sell it pretty hard. Just because they have a lot of ammunition to do it now. Pretty balanced at 06. Yeah, I'm kind of glad that I sat down and I said, that I don't want to be too involved in this market because, I could have bought that, but I would have had to have been nimble. I don't know if I'm quite in the. I don't know if I'm quite enough in the groove to have caught that one correctly. Oh, I stacked a ton there at 09.5 as well. Did that show up there when? Yeah, it did. Job seekers have been striving for years to make their resume stand out from the pile. As Gen Z enters the workforce, companies are seeing digital CVs filled with artistic flourishes. Yeah, I've seen that. You make a website. So I was thinking about making a website. I'm still thinking about making a website. I'm thinking about making a website and maybe selling some indicators. So like I would like to sell the histogram, for instance, like the statistical ones. Maybe I need to make a little bit of changes to make it more flexible to you guys so that I can keep the code for that hidden and still allow you to add on to it for you to show you your own stuff. So that's kind of one of the bigger kind of issues with it. But then the other issue is that I'm just kind of concerned, like, there's so many people out there selling indicators and things like that, and why don't you just make money on trading? And I would prefer to just make money on trading. So I'm also kind of sitting there like, well, should I really sell it? Because I almost feel like that selling it kind of undermines the whole thing. You know what I mean? But anyways, I was going through looking for templates. I found some. Actually, I'll show you. Um, Here's my website. So I went to, where was it from? Templated. Templated was the website that I went to and got this really great web template. And then I'm just modifying the HTML of it, right? And, but on those websites where you can get these templates, there's also tons of templates regarding things like CVs for resumes. They have templates for resumes, so you can make a resume that it's a web page that has like interactive elements and stuff like that. It's really cool. I'm like, do people really like? I would only do that if I was like a web developer, right? But apparently, a lot of people are doing more than that. Do big bangs actually do that shift thing, or are you joking? zipper there, push down, and then back up into the zipper at 06. I'm surprised. So I was talking about, big trader is always there because the big banks have like shifts. And Hit Big or Miss was like, do big banks actually do that shifting, or are you joking with me?
Twitch Dojo 2022. The problem with selling software is that even if you hide the code, someone will figure out what you're doing and reverse engineer it.
Sure.
Also, I created an iPhone app back when apps were relatively new and learned pretty quickly that if I thought of it, 50 others did too.
Right. Well, and the other thing is, I think I posted some of this stuff. You know,
YouTube Ace Trades Morning.
and there's Ace. I was thinking maybe I was going to take a trade in the E-mini today, but now that we've had that whole thing, I don't want to, because this retraced in Treasuries has not really retraced in the E-mini. But do I really want to sell? I don't know. I'm not getting, and then when I look at my chart, it's just not in the right spot for me to take a trade. So let's see what Ace does, but that and the fact that I have to go in 30 minutes means that probably it won't take any trades today. Well, I take that back. I might take a trade around the PMI. I'll be back. We'll talk about my video. I got a video coming out at the bottom of the hour. Just where it failed overnight, exactly where I would have expected people actually selling buns, but not seeing it in ZN.
YouTube Ace Trades. Nothing jumps out at me. Would have loved to take it short 2967.00.
Yeah. Well, the way that whole trade kind of worked out was kind of weird too, because we come out and right off of before the open in the Treasuries, it was ticking around a lot. So here, where was that? That was at 19, all right? So here, it was ticking around a lot. And then the initial move was a sell. And then almost immediately they flipped. And then they flipped, and you can see kind of like the signals that I got. They flipped. And then it moved up. And as they moved up, Donald Trump was tweeting, but there wasn't like an immediate reaction. And so maybe they were just using the tweets as an excuse, but we came up and then he stopped tweeting and we came back down. And as we came up here, that was when the E-mini started to sell and it did that move that you would have liked to have caught at 67, right? So that's where I'm kind of like, well, was it really because of Donald Trump or not? And then we had this move up and back down. Cumulative delta moved up and it didn't come back. So there's a couple of longs. There's about 5,000 in longs all the way up to 10 that are stuck. And I don't know if they're going to stop them out or what.
YouTube Algo Lover. GM winking face.
Good morning, Oliver. Are all of your levels still where they were last week? I'm guessing it might be like that. It just, so far, it kind of seems like it's
YouTube
tight.
Ace Trades at Algo Lover Morning.
No. Not in here, I don't think. Let's look around, though, for her. She's looking for paper. She sounds concerned about it.
YouTube, Algo Lover, ZN range 130, 140 on the upside or 129, 235 on the downside, ping pong until one goes, confused face. YouTube, Ace Trades, wife. YouTube, Algo Lover, wed. 12:58 p.m. Algo Lover note, S upside line in sand 3001, downside 2940.50, until one breaks equals range bound nerd face still valid.
Yeah. All the way from Wednesday. Yeah, could you see her in the background? Here, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna double check, okay? Okay. Yeah, she found them. Former President Jimmy Carter. I've been asked several times about the 20 or 25, whatever it is, Democrat candidates. What would it take for me to support one of them and endorse them publicly? And I'm not going to make up my mind yet which one I'm going to endorse. But he is going to endorse one. He just hasn't decided yet. But that probably means he's going to wait until very late and when it's like almost already decided, right? That means he's going to wait to endorse when he can make a power play. I kind of, man, my headphones are not behaving very well today. I'm still not sure if it's the audio interface
YouTube,
or if
Algo
it's
Lover,
the cable.
Yep, they went for 2,940.50
Maybe I
on
need
Friday, but
to
found
try a
buyers,
different set
so
of
we'll see
headphones
if they
in it.
follow through. Face with rolling eyes. YouTube, Algo Lover, reminder, end of month and Q3 today. Okay, hand.
That's a good point. That's probably part of why they moved up the way that they did. Because they do tend to buy on last day of the month, right? It is a little curious that they pushed down towards the bottom and then they started doing this annoying stuff between 04 half and 06 again. Anyways, on Jimmy Carter, I'm kind of wondering if he's sitting there watching the attention that Obama's getting and thinking, hey, you know, I could be a powerful player in politics. Maybe I should be. Well, I mean, the big guys are still there. That's the thing. Just think about how many times last week we mentioned where it was like, hey, there's nothing showing up down in here. Today, they're playing for sure. Probably because it's the end of the month, which probably means they want to buy it. Could we really buy it at all for half though? Well, I don't know if I'm getting enough of a signal to do that. Oh, Yen's down. That's a good point. Hit big or miss. That says
YouTube, Lucas, good morning all.
Hey, there you are. How's it going? Hope you had a good weekend.
YouTube, Algo Lover, gotta run, HAGD. Thumbs up.
Thanks for stopping in. Now they're going to push down again. Okay. Okay. The E-mini hasn't recovered, so I'm not quite sure why you sell it. New CCTV video captures devastating moment of missile impact on Aramco facility. I want to see. Okay, we're going to watch.
YouTube, Lucas, I gotta run too. Beginning of summer here.
Oh, that's right, because you're in Australia, right? Ooh, okay. Well, that was a precision strike. Wow. So they were like there with firefighters and everything when they hit. Well, that's interesting. Gold is clinging to the neckline of a Head
YouTube,
and
Uzi
Shoulders
Knesset, I
top.
got you playing in the background, but I'm up and down working on the inlet to my water main for the house lol.
Oh no, I hope that everything's okay, man. The inlet to my water main. That sounds like that could potentially be really bad. I'm like tempted to make a trade here, but I'm not. I'm not actually getting a signal or anything. Some of the now I'm because it is relatively quiet right now. Just like thinking about reading all of the extra headlines now here, right? Like Yahoo Finance says, here comes a massive 5G smartphone boom in 2020, says Goldman Sachs. Wing structure cracking issue cited on some Boeing 737 NG planes. Man, Boeing just can't catch a break, can they? Germany's.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset, it seems all good. Plumbing is one of like 3 things I am good at. I replaced the structure from the main valve to the water softener and to the house, but the link at the wall into.
Oh, I gotcha. So you got all of the waters off. He's just fixing it up. That's cool. Bloomberg says Germany's labor market unexpectedly improved this month, easing concerns that the economy is sliding into a recession. I'm starting to see a slight increase in large order activity again. They might be preparing for a push at the lows only to come short and then reverse again and go higher.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset, the house is kinda old. Doesn't look like I need to replace it, but I'ma let it sit for a couple hours before I stucco it up just to be sure no drips.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, you ever hate, like, I was working on my dryer. Oh, man. We completely took apart the dryer. You know what the problem here is? It's not the problem. It's actually a really good thing. I think I'm a little lazy. I think that's what the deal is. I don't really like to do something unless I actually absolutely have to. I'm a little lazy. And my wife is overly motivated. Now, she kind of goes in phases because she's got a little bit of a thyroid problem, and when she's like tired, man, she just turns into like a zombie, like no personality when she's tired. It's kind of weird. But then when she gets the energy back, she just like wants to go and do everything. So I'm like, well, the dryer's broken. I need to take it apart and see what's wrong with it. So I'll open it up, I'll go over and fiddle around with it and be like, oh, well, it's not even turning on.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset, that's how I am lol.
It's like, it was turning on, but it wouldn't actually like start. So I'm like, well, it must be an electronic issue, breaker or something like that. Well, can't do anything. I don't have the equipment to test that or anything like that. And then I go and I get it and I start testing things. And I'm like, well, I can't find the thing. Oh, well, guess we need to go get a new dryer now. So I'm like, I'm all being ultra frugal, but then when I have to go and put in the work, it's like I give up. But not my wife. She's like, oh, well, I'm going to keep looking. So she goes and she like takes it like apart. and she finds this fuse that I didn't even know was a fuse that was broken, and that's what was preventing the dryer from running. And it was like a $30 fix or something like that. And yeah, so it's like, but I hate.
Twitch, Dojo 2022. Seth is trying to keep those durable goods numbers up. Haha.
Yeah, exactly. You need to keep the. No, I don't, because I really don't think that consumption alone
YouTube,
helps the
Uzi
economy.
Knesset. You know a lot of dryers have a service manual inside of it taped to the drum. I learned when my dryer broke. I had no clue that dryers actually throw codes like cars, haha.
Yeah, no, on mine it's gone though. Yeah, no, I've like when we did it, when we first got the dryer, I literally took it apart. When I took this one apart, there was so much lint in there. Oh my gosh. And some of it was actually like black. So I was like, probably should clean this out more often. But yeah, no, I totally took it apart. And then you're putting it, but the whole point of that was like when you're putting it back together, you know, like you just want to see that it works, but you have to like screw it all back together. And then you're like, oh, okay, but it works, but I screwed up this one thing. And so then you have to take it all back apart. That is like the most annoying thing. That is the most annoying thing. Because I'm just like, I want to be done with it. And my wife, she like has to make sure like we do everything proper and get all of the. It's a fixed. Like it's quiet now too. The dryer's actually like really quiet because we spiffed it up, lubricated it, all this stuff. She's too motivated, guys. I'll give you another example. The yard. Oh my god. So me for the yard, I'm like, okay, we're putting grass and then we're good. No. We have to have all of these gardens, and there's a plan. And
YouTube, Uzi Knesset. Pro tip 2. If your washer floods or doesn't drain right, those socks we stereotypically lose actually get sucked into the washer drain pump sometimes lol.
Oh gee, I've never had that happen before. Well, I think that taking apart my washing machine would be harder than taking apart the dryer, right? I think the washing machine is a little bit more complicated. I was surprised at how simple the dryer was inside once I actually took it apart. Like the heating coil it's literally like this coil attached to the electricity, and that's it. And then there's a motor to turn the drum, and that's it. It's actually quite simple. Oh, they did give me a signal, but it was a short signal.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset. Happened to me just once. Dryers are easy. Washers are a pain in the ass lol.
Wait. Where is it? Oh.
Ha.
Oh, what? Come on, you can do better than that. Maybe I need to do it like this. Maybe I need to do exclamation points. Come on. How did he do it? Oh, maybe if I do it with
Lucas,
commas.
is she having sex?
Yeah.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset. Our front loader was flooding the garage and it turned out there was a sock in the drain pump lol.
Oh man.
Took me like 3 hours to figure that out.
Oh man, this is the worst when you're working on something and it takes for hours and hours, and then you figure out what's wrong and it's something really simple. Okay, that was more like what I expected her to do. It's funny when you mess around with the punctuation the way that she does it.
Yes.
What does she do it differently if you do
Knesset.
multiple exclamation points?
Yes.
No, she does not. I'm trying. I'm sure that there are probably some ways with the extra tags. But because of the way that it's encoded, I never fixed that. Well, they are going down towards the lows, and I'm just still kind of sitting here watching it. '09 to '02, that's a good 10 tick move down that I've stayed out of. Are they going to go for a new low? And this is
Twitch
an issue.
Dojo 2022. I'm setting an alert for 2,960. May get long there if it starts to turn. YouTube Uzi Knesset. So anyway, forgive my lack of participation. I got the terminal running just to record the data, but attention's not right to trade.
Yeah, I gotcha. But thank you for tuning in anyways. Yeah, come back here in at the bottom of the hour. Well, I'm gonna go and drive the kids to school, and then when I come back, I'll post the new video. You come and watch the new video in the first hour. That always helps. And this one's the good one. Well, it's not the good one, but it's about technical analysis, which is like, the issue we all love to argue about, right? So I will post that. You guys can all put your comments on. I'm sure there will be lots of discussion on this one. Okay, they're kind of still super tepid at '02. Not seeing pushing yet. I suspect, though, it might flip back up. It's too close. Too close for me to take a trade, though. Too close to take a trade.
YouTube Ace Trades at Uzi Knesset. So was the socks mate happy to see the missing sock?
So talking about socks, we can just talk about the dumbest stuff today, right? So I'm not a huge fan of this market right now. I have not been losing my socks. At least I don't think I've been losing my socks. But I don't keep like account of my socks. Maybe I'm losing some. But I will like
Uzi Knesset, always LMAO.
There you go. I will like wear the sock out so that it's like a layer of the sock is gone on the sole of my foot. And I'm like, well, I suppose I could keep wearing it.
YouTube Uzi Knesset, but I threw that nasty thing away, so they went to garbage heaven together, haha.
Garbage heaven. You can see the two socks. like the end of Toy Story 3, right?
YouTube Ace Trades at Uzi Knesset, all socks go to heaven.
Sitting there on the conveyor belt, seeing that they're about to go down into the flames, holding each other close, knowing that they're about to die.
YouTube Uzi Knesset, LOLOL.
Oh, man. Oh, will she say lol? Like if I do LAWL.
Lol.
Yeah, she does. I want her
YouTube
to
Uzi Knesset, lol.
Right. I want her to do like a really enthusiastic yes, but I don't know how we would get her to do that. I tried multiple exclamation marks and it didn't work. I was like, that's a yes exclamation point. That's a little disappointing, honey. Stephen Miller lashes out over whistleblower complaint, claims Trump is the real whistleblower. It's really weird to me to see media responses to a lot of these stories. Because to me, it's just like, okay, yeah, whistleblower. Sounds like whistleblower might have done something that he wasn't supposed to do. Like he had access to some information that he wasn't supposed to. It's not proven, but it's very possible that he wasn't supposed to have access to that information and that people were sharing stuff with him illegally. That's just kind of like a thing. You go and you say that, and then you come in and you look at the media response to it, and it's like, Donald Trump is threatening the whistleblower with legal action, and he's threatening a civil war and unhinged attacks. Okay. Okay, guys.
YouTube, Lucas, I can't have Jigsaw show the position on the queue anymore? Does it happen to you, SCTG?
No, that doesn't happen to me. What? Lucas, what is wrong with your jigsaw? Now, do you actually have the column on? So in parameters, do you have the order column? And then, you know, we put a by in here and then it shows up. The latest version. What does it show? Can you post in Discord a picture? Because that is weird. That is really weird. Okay, so what I'm seeing at the moment is they're possibly turning and the institutional interest is dried up. So,
YouTube, Lucas, yes, lol, I don't know. I installed NT8 yesterday and I can't have it show now. It only says 1L or 2L.
oh, really? Oh, you know what? I have had that in some instances. Um, so I will give you an example. So if I click long here, okay, it shows me 1L and then it shows me the Q. Okay.
YouTube, Uzi Knesset, at Lucas, that happened to me a while ago. Never figured it out, but it did fix itself one morning.
Okay. So now it's changed a little bit. Oh, come on. Look at how quiet the DOM is. Okay. So now it's changed and I put another one on. Okay. That's not what I expected it to do. It must need to be a bigger divergence. Anyways, what can happen sometimes is like if you're putting it on the inside and the level 2 has changed a lot and you have multiple orders, those orders can be in such drastically different spots in the queue that it can't really give you a useful queue number anymore. And so it just doesn't show you the queue anymore. And we should keep in mind there is like some settings. So if you go into appearance, and then where is it? Alert trade column right here. Nope, that's not it.
YouTube, Lucas, I'll try restarting this.
I'm gonna
YouTube,
find
Ace
it.
Trades, short 2968.00.
Snapshot.
YouTube, Ace Trades, too close to open.
Yeah, it's too close to open. That's what I was thinking. Highlight large asks. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I should. Trade window alert. Order overview depth histogram. Oh, really? That is a feature I was not aware of. So does that mean that if I get in an order, then it will show me a histogram of the order flow that has occurred since I've gotten in there? That's really cool. Oh, but it would be in the alerts, right? I thought that it was in here, but it's not in here. Price bid snapshot. Somewhere in here there's a setting to show you where.
YouTube, Lucas, there we go, thanks Susie and Seth, restarted, now it's fixed.
Yeah. I think that it's just sometimes it can't calculate it. Now, where is the property that determines how
YouTube
much
Uzi
is in front
Knesset,
of you?
sweet grinning face with big eyes.
Maybe it's in the main settings. Maybe it's in options here. Oh, yes, it is. No, that's not it either. Market depth throttle. Man, how come I can't find it? It's going to bother me all day now. Power meter. It's not going to be there, right? Market depth, snapshot style, snapshot filter, style. Clear trades, timer interval, update interval prints. Man, I don't know. I thought that it was here under the trade, not the trade window, trade column. I thought it was under here, where it would say, what percentage of order is in front of you in the queue and what formula do you use. I thought it was either there or in this one. Reduce smart queue font. I don't know. I feel super confused now. Maybe they hid it from us. Okay, well, it's time for me to step away, so I'm going to go take the kids to school and come back, and then I'll post the link to the video, all right? So be right back.
YouTube Ace Trades, later dude, drive safe. YouTube Ace Trades, 2 minutes to cash open. YouTube Lucas, yes, treasuries look really weak. YouTube Lucas, about to drop.
Ooh. Okay, let's hear what I meant. Lucas, yes, treasuries look really weak, about to drop. Yes, they do. They very much do. I'm having a hard time seeing why. Well, actually, I take that back, right? I think the reason that they're dropping is because there was like 5K orders that got stuck going long. They had to puke. I think that's why. There was another short signal there. So I don't think that my initial read was correct. I think it was just kind of a little bit of a like, who knows if it's going to go or not. But I mostly stayed out. I didn't commit myself into anything too much because I knew that we were going to have to go, right? Anyways, you guys are still with me. Thank you. Let's get the YouTube video out, huh? So, here it is. Does technical analysis work? You like my picture there?
Twitch, Dojo 2022, it's out already.
Yeah, it's already out. Isn't that a great, I like my picture. We took a picture just for that. I'm pretty happy with it. Oh, I have to go into it, I guess, to watch it. Already 4 views. Thank you guys so much. And copy that. I like it myself because that helps. Comment there. Okay, and Bill says, when properly executed. That was just him right there. Okay, so there's that. So here you guys go. Here is the link. Send. YouTube and Twitch. Cool. Bum, 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 bum. And then I'm gonna pimp this one a little bit. So one post max per day. Okay, cool. Oh, I'm not logged in. I hate having to like pull out the app and do the authenticator and all that nonsense. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna give it like a clickbaity. I don't know if this is gonna be. I think if I just leave it as the clickbaity title and put that to, I think that'll. All right, let's see how well that does. It'll just be a good test. Good test. Always got to have something a little different about how we do things to see. I'm posting it all over the place. Okay. So you just open that link up in another page. You can watch that while we're doing this. They did turn around pretty convincingly there. But we got this news, right? Bum, bum, bum. Okay. I move this down here. Stocks open the day with gains. Yes. Fed speakers. Oh, there's tons of them this week. Tomorrow. There's one every day this week, except for today. Bolton says North Korean testing freeze is not an encouraging sign, but something to be worried about. So whatever North Korea does, one should be nervous. Look at that. That was a pretty good up move. I wouldn't mind buying it now, but we've got to wait. Oh, look at that. Okay, liquidity is pulling now. So the market maker decided to pull his orders, huh? So we're looking for a reading of 50 with a previous reading of 50.4. It's not unusual for this number to miss by like 5 to 10 points. So when we get it, if we get a number like crazy off that, and 50 is like even, so if it was anything above 50, that would be really bullish. Well, I don't know if it would necessarily be really bullish, but I think that the market would probably react to it really positively. Look at the way that they come back there, huh? And back to 6 again. Man. So big iceberg there in the 5-year. Think somebody must be taking along here. This is kind of a little weird. There is whispers on Twitter that the PMI is going to be 47.1. Well, let's put in a little. 47.1 wouldn't be like the end of the world. 40 seconds. I'd be skeptical about that whisper number, though.
YouTube Ace Trades. I impatiently went log at 2971.00.
Well, if you have a few ticks in it, but we get this news coming out, so. Okay.
YouTube Ace Trades. Maybe get a point.
So there's the release. It is 47.1. Okay. So they're not really reacting to it at the moment. I'm going to just
YouTube
cancel
Ace
that.
Trades. Sorry, long, not log.
Maybe get a point. You may get it. If you got it at 71, you already got a point, right? No, not quite. Almost. So close. Ukrainian president sends Danieluk's resignation. No clue what that means. That's a weird name. We could continue to move up just because there's going to be some buyers. How did that number leak? Tisk dies. Sharing non-public information on Twitter. Whoever got that information, naughty, naughty, naughty. Who was it that told me that?
YouTube, Greg Orlovsky. It comes out early to members. YouTube Ace Trades
right,
point is
right.
all.
You're right.
Twitch, Dojo 2022. That's the efficient market hypothesis. Haha.
Right. Well, sometimes they do know early, you know? No, that's right. That's why when Noah was like, oh, they're pulling early and everything. So that must have been at 40. Perhaps that's why they were trading up. I'm telling you, I'm betting there's going to be a lot of people posting that video. No, technical analysis totally works. And then we're going to be like, okay, show me some stats. Because here's the thing, it's not like I don't think that there's not edge in technical analysis, right? If there was no edge in technical analysis, then I would say just ignore it. No, I believe that it is like a dead edge, which is to say that, back in Jesse Livermore's time.
YouTube, Greg Orlovsky. Members get #3 minutes before.
Yeah, that would make sense. I just think that way back in like the 1920s, it would have edge. But now that everybody has charts and understands the patterns, that edge has been arbitraged out of the market, and that edge is gone. Now, there could be some edge when you combine technical analysis with some order flow, volume kind of information. And I think the thing is I think that volume will always have edge because a volume is about the fundamentals of the market, right? Patterns with price, that the only reason that ever held edge was because those are just people's tendencies, right? But volume has edge because that's the market. That's the market's tendency. And it has to do with the way that the market is structured. National Security Advisor John Bolton. Former National Security Advisor John Bolton. I am delighted to be here today. I am also sure the leadership of North Korea is delighted that I am here today in a private capacity. This guy. You can get run around saying things like that. I'm glad that you're not National Security Advisor anymore. Okay, so that was Ukraine's president fires head of National Security Council. Aha. Interesting. Okay. The E-Mini is now doing something. We have some news coming. I don't know. Okay, you know what? It's too hot in here. What's wrong with my thermostat? Well, it says, okay. Do that. I think it's all messed up because she changed some things. The weather changed, and so we need to reset up the schedule. Anyways, back to technical analysis. I think that at one point it held a considerable edge. Now that edge is like a dead edge. And when you have a dead edge, that doesn't mean that like it has no edge. It just means that that edge only puts you at break even, right? So it's still important to see because you need to know all that stuff to get yourself to break even, but it's not going to make you profitable. Kind of becomes like the bare minimum that you need to know. And of course, there could be something in your specific instrument where you take certain information, but then you kind of get into what actually is technical analysis, right? So if I say technical analysis is anything that is like based purely on price and movement. So I say if it's an indicator that's based purely on price movement, like say RSI would be a good example, right? Then I say no edge. 7.5. So they started pushing down and then it jumped back up there for no real reason. That's being awfully difficult. Zero hedges. Headline is Chicago PMI re-slumps back into contraction. Yeah. Oh, what did Donald Trump say? President Trump's job approval numbers have just reached the highest level since his inauguration, around 50%, and you can add to that many votes from voters that don't talk about their vote. Once they saw the president's numbers going up, they said, we got to do something. So they made this whole thing up. Impeachment is also a preemptive strike for what they think is coming on the Obama administration's handling of the 2016 election. Quoting Jim McLaughlin, highly respected pollster. Do not know which poll that actually is to say if they are highly respected or not. Put this over here. See, now, though, it's interesting also.
Twitch, Dojo 2022, there's still activity around the Hillary email issues.
Yeah, there was some stuff this weekend where they were like, the Department of Justice was looking into stuff, right? So you're right. That's still a thing and is maybe, I don't know if it was a preemptive strike. I really think that the Democrats are just grasping at whatever they can possibly find. That's why they were so willing to go into impeachment before they even actually knew what the conversation was, you know? See, remember that the Democrat strategy is almost always about
Twitch,
being popular.
Dojo 2022, wrapping up investigation that started under Obama.
Yeah. Their strategy is always about being the popular thing. That's why they care so much about polls. Donald Trump supporters ignore the polls, but the Democrats are always going, hey, look, support for impeachment, it went up. So you go and you see a poll and it'll be something like, okay, is the accusation that Donald Trump coerced a foreign power to contribute to his campaign a serious issue? Well, of course it's a serious issue. I mean, Congress is talking about impeaching him. So even if it's they don't impeach him and he doesn't get removed from office, it's still a serious issue, right? Most voters are going to say yes to that
YouTube
question.
Ace Trades, so glad we got Trump versus Hillary. Man, those emails, phew, we dodged a bullet with that one.
Right. Dodged a bullet, but it wasn't. I'm not going to say Donald Trump is like the greatest thing ever. I'm pretty happy with how he's done things so far, but clearly there's better candidates out there that we just didn't have. Anyways, 80% of people do say, yeah, it's a serious issue. So then they'll turn around and they'll say, hey, look, support for impeachment increased. But was it really support for impeachment increased? Not really. Because if the correct question would have been, do you support removing Donald Trump from office over impeaching him and removing him from office over this allegation? That's the real question. That's the only question that really matters. And you notice they don't ask that question, because if they ask that question, you'll know that a majority oppose that. And so they're always going to try and get a poll out to make it seem like support is increasing, and you'll see it almost every day. New poll, support increasing, blah 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 blah, because it's all about giving people the impression that the tide is
YouTube
turning,
Ace
and that's
Trades.
the popular
I'd much
opinion.
rather have a president who mocks the handicapped than an aggressive patriot who can't use the correct server.
Right. Well, I think Hillary would have been a really bad president. It's kind of crazy to go back and look at things, because there's very clear situations you can look at where things would be very different if Hillary had been president, wouldn't they? In fact, I still believe quite strongly that if Hillary Clinton had been president, we would probably already be in a war with Iran. Probably. I think that almost anybody other than Donald Trump. Quite frankly, even with Donald Trump, we almost are in a war with Iran. You know? Oh, wow. 5 comments already. Wow, guys. Thank you so much. Mm-mm. Good response, Rackley. You guys are great. You guys are great. Oh, 7.5 still, huh? This is not, man. I mean, that thing right there seems to suggest that we're going to sell again, but I don't know about that. I'm not sold on the selling yet. I'm not sold on the selling.
YouTube Lucas at Ace Trades face with tears of joy.
I mean, there's so you want to know, Ace. I think you'll understand this one. We'll see if you agree with me on this or not. There is a conversation that is had in Utah that drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. Okay, and it's this whole thing because obviously in Utah there's a lot of LDS people, and at one time, President Hunter, or I forget which one it was, he said something basically about like, don't vote for the lesser of two evils, always vote for good. And I say, nonsense. Show me, where is this righteous man that is running for president, that is all good and righteous? Is it Evan McMullen? No, it's not. Let me tell you what. I had a good lady friend that knew Evan McMullen, and not that he did anything terrible or anything, but I was quite disappointed with how he broke it off with her. And it was enough to make me be like, I don't know if I want that guy to be president. And he's still single, by the way. I have to question. Not that I'm saying that he's
YouTube Lucas, is it Joe Biden?
Is it Joe Biden? No, it's not. I'm not saying that he anything about his morals, or a lot of people have speculated that he's gay. I'm not so sure about that because I know girls that have dated him. But just to me, I just don't see how you get to 40 and not have been married. What are you doing with your life? That's not a person that I want to be president. I think that the president should have children. I think that changes your outlook on life. Okay. Maybe not young children, because that can affect your thinking because you want to protect children. But I do think, like Angela Merkel, I would never vote for Angela Merkel because she doesn't have kids. Okay. That to me is just weird. Okay. So
YouTube
I don't think it's
Lucas,
him.
hey, I'm single. Winks at female robot.
And that's why everybody in Utah was going, was they're saying, oh, Evan McMullen, he's an LDS person. He must be a right. No, I don't think he is. I honestly, I don't think that he would make a good president. And I kind of question if he's really this pure person. Here's the thing. Nobody gets to this level. Nobody gets to the level where they're a serious contender for president without skeletons in their closet. It just doesn't happen. That's just like normal people stuff.
YouTube Ace Trades, that's because you still have a patriarchal view
Well,
of society and think the men should rule the world.
No, I mean, I totally think that it's okay for a woman to be president. I just think that she should have had, I think it's weird, and what more importantly, I think it changes your outlook on life if you're a woman and you never got married and had kids. I don't know. That's just not normal, guys. That's like contrary to what your biology is telling you. What's going on with you that you never, I don't know. Could be wrong. But besides the point, this whole thing about that there, even the concept to me that there is a politician out there. If you meet a politician, trust me, this will happen to you someday. Okay, you'll meet a politician. I've met a lot of politicians. Like, I'll go to local things and I'll meet
YouTube
somebody
Brian,
and you're really
kids
into
are
them,
expensive.
really into this candidate, and you go, oh, this candidate, they understand it. Like, they believe all of the same things that I believe, and they seem like they're really smart and they have good morals, and they're an upstanding person. And I've met them in person, and I know that this is what they're like. You if you ever get that experience, run. You have been tricked. It doesn't exist. If you see that in a politician, it means that they have successfully fooled you. Okay? Politicians are not, once you get into an office, the power of the office is so strong that it overwhelms the individual that's involved. The office is stronger than any person. Quite literally. And they're not their own person at that point, and they will do things contrary to that individual's values in certain circumstances, because they literally almost have no choice, right? And so you could go in and say, well, they believe everything that I believe. Nobody believes exactly
YouTube
what
Lucas,
you believe.
So libertarians are right.
Yeah, well, to an extent. No, nobody believes what you believe. Exactly. And if you really think that somebody does, then they're messing with you. They're manipulating you to think that, because it's never true. It's just, there's no two people that have that similar of a view on the world. It just doesn't exist. You've been tricked, right? And so this whole thing where people say, well, you got to vote for the lesser of two evils. It should always be that way, because if you don't see something about a candidate that is a negative, then it means that you've been fooled. Makes sense? And people in Utah just don't see it that way. And I feel like it's so naive. It's so naive. And so people go in and they're like, well, I wouldn't vote for the lesser of two evils. Basically saying, well, you shouldn't vote for Donald Trump. You should have voted for some third party person. Who? Evan McMullen, no chance. And if you're an LDS person, yeah, I guess you could say, if you're a patriarchal, LDS person, you could say, yeah, well, then there's a reason why you wouldn't vote for Evan McMullen. He's not married. But I digress. He wasn't too nice to my friend. That's all I have to say. He dumped her for a dumb reason. Man, this is just, now it's a chop zone. So I don't know if I'm going to take any today. I just sat here and yapped instead. I would like to take a trade. Maybe the evening would give us. Well, I do see the past bar
Twitch,
did give us a
Dojo
little
2022.
extension.
I also factor in the SCOT US judges when you vote.
Oh, totally. Well, I mean, for Donald Trump, for me, when I think about, if I always think about, because I had a couple of friends, not that I talk to too much anymore, but I remember a couple of friends, because I was like dating and all of this sort of stuff before the election, right? And around the time, when was it? Good grief. It's been so long. Okay, so it was 2016. So like in 2015, like fall of 2015 was when I met my wife right now, right? So I think about all the people that I was dating or that I knew from the singles scene and like what would they think now? And I think that a lot of them are pretty like never Trump or anti-Trump. And they would say, well, now that Donald Trump is being impeached, do you regret voting for him? Heck no, we got two SCOTUS appointments out of it. That alone, worth it. Worth it. As long as there's not a nuclear war, worth it, in my opinion. Because that SCOTUS appointment is important, for sure. And I've been a little upset at some of the court decisions in the past. I don't think that they're consistent with the law. Brexit. UK Finance Minister Javid to say, I am getting a new target for the national living wage of £10.50p. Wants to bring down the age
YouTube
threshold.
Brian, what is that? YouTube Ace Trades, can we all go long at 2,974.50? They can't stop us all.
But it's chopping around there. That's interesting you get one there. I mean, I can see where it... I mean, I don't know what Ace's signal is. We still haven't been able to meet up. Oh, hey, we might be able to do it tomorrow. You got to answer your Facebook Messenger questions though, or like I'll ask you for your number there. That's what I should do. Text you because clearly you don't have Facebook Messenger on your phone. But Tuesdays and the kids are gone again this Tuesdays. Tuesdays are the days, so maybe tomorrow. I don't actually know what his thing is, but I do know that it tends to happen when, I at a pivot, like it's past a pivot. So like, I can see where we kind of were going up there at 29, 74.50, and they pushed a little bit further. And now they've already pushed down through it, but it's chopping back and forth there quite a bit too. So that kind of makes me a little uneasy about it. But it's chopping here, and a lot of it too is the treasuries are just really choppy. Ryan was asking, what is that? So I don't quite understand. Oh, I did want to answer one other thing, and that was Lucas. Lucas said, so libertarians are right. Well, I think that people are incredibly prone to abusing power, and that you need to have checks and balances against any kind of person or even group of individuals, even like a 50% of the population.
YouTube Ace Trades, I just pulled that number out of a hat. Lol, making fun of the Area 51 people.
I gotcha. Okay. But anyways, even like 50% of the population could create a tyranny and take away rights from other people. So I'm totally down with constitutions and things like that. But I would not consider myself a libertarian, and here's why. Because I don't think that anything in this world fits into neat little boxes. I don't think that you can sit down and you can say the correct choice in every situation.
What is SCOTUS?
Oh, SCOTUS is the Supreme Court of the United States. So he's talking about judge appointments, basically. Yes. But anyways, to Lucas's comment, I don't think that anything in this world fits into neat little boxes. And so there are some situations, like I think that Social Security overall is a good program. It's been an effective program, and the country is stronger and the economy is stronger because of Social Security. Okay. Everybody should have a safe read, not in the stock market fund for their retirement, a pension of some sort, and Social Security ensures that everybody gets that. And what used to happen is that people wouldn't save, and then they would get old and they were basically out on the streets and couldn't work, or if their family didn't take care of them. And it was a huge social burden. And the burden of taking care of those people in the street was far more than the burden of what we pay for Social Security. And the truth of it is that we don't really pay for Social Security because we're doing something that everybody should be doing anyways. And because the government does it, you get a much better rate than you would otherwise get. So, Social Security, great program. Guess what? It violates libertarian principles. Absolutely, right? Because you are forced to participate in Social Security, which isn't right. But you know what? It's effective. It's just like nothing fits into these neat little boxes. There's always going to be exceptions, and you just kind of have to take it issue by issue and weigh the pros and cons. And so that's why I'm not a libertarian, if that makes sense. That's another one that drives me nuts from the Donald Trump supporters, says they all think that we should just get rid of Social Security. And
YouTube Lucas, I hate when PPL ask if you regret voting for a candidate president. They just try to shame on you doing that. You vote someone, you wait to see if she delivers, and if not, you change your mind.
Well, and not even that. You have to see who else is running against them,
YouTube Lucas, with politicians you never know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's just, I'm never going to sit down and be like, oh, I absolutely love candidate X or candidate Y, and I think that they're just the best leader for it. No, never. It's always going to be a calculated decision based on the options presented. And it just so happens, you get the primary and then you get the full election. And by the time that it comes for you to vote, there's a limited set of options for your vote to be effective that you can take, and you take them. Just so happens last time it was Hillary and Donald Trump. And despite all of the drama that we've had with Donald Trump, I am really glad that he is president and not Hillary. That doesn't mean that he's the greatest president in the world. That doesn't mean he hasn't made mistakes. That doesn't mean that somebody else better could run against him that I would maybe vote for. It just means that I really didn't like Hillary.
YouTube Brian, so the price of ZN, can you explain to me? Up is good for who and down is good for who, like your USD up, your down USD?
Oh, that's a good question. So the primary way that I would think of it is risk on versus risk off, okay? So if we are risk on, that means that people are willing to put risk on the table. The equities, so the ES, will move up, and the treasuries will move down, okay? And that is the main correlation that we're looking for in trading, okay? Like, that's the main thing, okay? So the way that will come up is, hey, a number came out about the economy. Well, if the economy is doing good, then the Federal Reserve is likely to raise rates, and that rates run opposite to prices in treasuries. So that's risk on. Equities are going to go up, treasuries are going to go down, okay? If we see low inflation, that means that so that's the second correlation, is inflation, okay? So if we have a lot of inflation, then treasuries are going to move down because they're going to raise rates. If we don't have inflation, then treasuries move up because they don't have to raise rates. And that's where you can end up with everything going up, right? That's a risk on. People are willing to put risk on because rates are going to stay the same. So they buy the ES and they buy the treasuries. I hope that makes sense. But you don't have to if you try and remember, okay, in this situation, let's set this down. Just think about, this is the important thing that matters, right? Okay. How well is the economy doing? What is inflation? Okay. And then the thing number 3 is what you bring up, which is correlation to other countries. Okay. So for instance, right now, the euro,
YouTube Brian, risk off is weak USD. YouTube Brian,
yep,
so risk on is down, ZN risk off is up.
exactly. When people are scared, they buy treasuries. Okay. So when it comes to the currencies, that's where it can kind of get complicated because it can depend on which currency and things like that. But the thing that we're seeing right now is that in Europe, rates are really, really low. And so they're coming over to the United States and buying. So the weaker that the euro gets, the stronger the dollar gets. And then that makes them want to buy treasuries. Okay. But there's also this inverse correlation because when the dollar gets stronger, they kind of have to account for that in the price of the S&P 500. And so that means because the dollars are worth more, that doesn't necessarily mean that the companies are worth more. And so the S&P 500 will often sell off of that. But you don't necessarily have to get that specific into it. You just kind of look at it like, have a stock of the have a chart of the E-mini app, have a chart of the 6J. 6J is Japanese, okay? have the euro and the British pound up. You want to have the British pound up because of Brexit. Okay. Have gold up. And then you just kind of look, okay, we had a move. Is there a move in these other instruments that started at the same time? Then they're correlated. And then we can kind of use that to explain why they might be buying or selling. Okay. Today, they are a little bit correlated in the E-mini in some situations, but then in some situations they're not. Like when we were selling, the Treasuries certainly moved up. But then we moved up in the Treasuries. We sold, and then we moved back up again in the Treasuries, and the E-mini was moving up at the same time. And I don't even really see a correlation to any instrument. And so I believe that what we're seeing in Treasuries right now is mostly isolated to Treasuries, that basically when we had this big sell up here, this big buy up here rather, that some traders got trapped, and so they washed them out going back the other way. And now we've come back to equilibrium. Well, that was a long blah, 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 blah. And probably more confusing than that. It can be hard to keep all of those things in your head, you know? The one thing that I would memorize, okay, is treasury prices run opposite to yields, okay? Higher yields hurt the economy. It makes it harder to grow. Lower yields make it easier to grow. So, but you can keep that part in, but the part that I would memorize is treasuries moving up is bad. Treasuries moving up is people are scared. Treasuries moving down means
YouTube
everybody
Brian
wants,
Woo-woo.
everybody thinks everything is going great. That's the one that I would remember. When the market is really scared, these treasuries spike so hard, and those are some of the crazy great trades that you can make in treasuries.
YouTube Brian, let's just describe it as strong USD, weak USD.
Yeah, but I mean, you can get a situation where it goes both ways, where the USD is weakening but treasuries are still moving up. Like what would be a situation like that? Like I don't think that that's happened recently. Theoretically, it would be possible though.
YouTube Brian divergence.
Sure. But the other thing is that I would never place a trade based on correlation. I always try to use correlation as just like an extra check. You know, like if like if I want to go long in the treasuries and I see that the E-mini is buying up, then I have to say, okay, well, that's not the normal correlation. So are they going up at the same time? Are they going up because of easy money? And is there news out there today that would indicate that they're trading up because of easy money?
Twitch Dojo 2022. Volatility on crude and bonds is to the upside and on stocks to the downside.
Yeah, that's true. There's also some correlations with oil, but I think that that's largely because of how oil can affect the value of the dollar as well. China warns of global market instability if the U.S. follows through with delisting threat. Yeah, that would be pretty bad for everybody. But it may be necessary. I sure hope that can come to that. I think that China should just make a deal. Make a deal, Xi. Save us all a lot of grief, please. Well, we're actually getting a lot of spiking here. I think it's probably a little bit too late in here for me to take a trade, but they're definitely spiking here. Oh my gosh, guys, what? Okay, so on my video, there's a guy and he says technical analysis works when properly executed. I don't know if he's joking or if he's serious. So I say, perhaps you could expand on when properly executed. And then he says, just watch all of the gurus on YouTube and they will tell you. So I think he is joking. But gosh. All the gurus. There will be many gurus willing to sell you indicators, that's for sure. Like,
YouTube Brian, I watched your video too. It was good, but it ta.
but it's about technical analysis, right? Well, so part of what I'm doing is I'm just trying to target like the main, like these are the things that we talk about all the time and that you guys love to talk about, right? Our stream, as far as I can tell, is unique because I think we're the only ones with like a live
YouTube
room.
Brian, I do ta grinning face.
Oh, okay. I think we're the only ones with a live room that is focused almost exclusively on order flow and treasuries. Well, in the Discord, it's order flow. Like us and Jigsaw, like that's it. I don't think there's anybody else on YouTube that's really pushing that the same way that we do. And you look at everybody else on YouTube, they're all technical analysis indicators, you know. And here, you know, we love to trash technical analysis because to me, it's just like all of the places where technical analysis is wrong. And why are they wrong? Well, it's because it's dead edge, right? You have some technical analysis indicator that says that it's likely to do this, but then I can look in the order flow and I can see the traders are actively doing something that's not that. I know when it's going to fail before it fails. That a level or
YouTube Brian, wanna look at my chart for NZ.
So, you know, doesn't make it useless
Twitch,
though.
Dojo 2022. Very few Bond channels on YouTube, except for that Jonathan Rose guy and some European guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I've seen Jonathan Rose. That's a smaller channel, right? I think I know who you're talking about. He's pretty cool. Yeah. Well, and it's funny because there are like some trading gurus on, you know, like Mr. Wayland, who hasn't posted since he was quote unquote exposed. But it's always the stock chart guys and the Bitcoin guys that are super popular, right? I should have started a Bitcoin channel. Could have gotten a lot of people in the crypto sphere.
Twitch, Dojo 2022. All of the streams on Twitch are BTC.
Yeah. Although, you know what I blame is that in Twitch you have to list it under a game, and there's no just stock trading game, right? So you have to list yourself as Bitcoin basically. And I don't know how to get them to add, you know, futures trading or whatever it is. Is what I would like to see. But yeah. So there's I think the next video that I want to do is, you know, why do 95% of traders fail? I think that's another thing that people really like to talk about. But I'm also trying to target people like, okay.
YouTube Brian, you still can. You should make a command that you can add in YouTube so it doesn't read the text.
Oh, you know what? I can turn it off. I'm just too lazy. So have you seen this? Let me show you how this works. So I got a bot. I wrote the bot. So here's the bot. Here's the server, and here is the web browser part. And then here's my OBS. And then in OBS, I have a little window here called the TTS, and it kind of gives me a little interface, so I can expand and close that. So if I wanted to say something,
Lol.
you know, I can type it in myself if I want.
YouTube Brian, so people can choose themselves, like at NORAD message.
Maybe we could do that too. So I just have this little check mark in here to turn off the auto reading. So if I turn off the auto reading, then it stops reading it. And then when I click it back in, it will start reading it from, it'll skip all of the messages that you put in there and it'll start reading that from there. So, but normally I just go in and turn on auto read and keep going because as of late, at least, you guys haven't gotten.
YouTube Brian, I like the reading.
Yeah. It hasn't gotten like noisy enough in here lately to turn it off, except for if I go on a really long rant. I'm thinking about remaking it though. I'm thinking maybe I should remake it in C++ so that I could add a gate to it so that it will only read something if I'm not saying anything. So they won't interrupt me.
YouTube Brian for those who don't want their message read.
Yeah, we could do that. Like we could do something like if we put what would the symbol be? We could just put an exclamation point in front.
YouTube Brian, that's cool too.
Yeah, we could put like if you put it with an exclamation point in front, then it won't read your message out loud. But keep in mind that the reason that we added it was so that I don't have to look over here and actually read things. It's not just because it's cool, right? It's so that we can keep our eyes over here on the DOM, even for you, because what would often happen is I would not read out the message and you didn't completely understand what they said. Now you guys can, completely minimize the window and just listen if that's what you want to do. And I think that our focus has been better, and I think our trading has been better since we started doing it. So I'm really happy with it. I certainly want to add more features, though. Certainly want to add more features. Another feature I want to do is I want to make it like use different voices for different people. That would be cool, I think. Every time that it encounters a new person, it'll create a new entry and assign them a random voice. Well, I'm still seeing lots of headlines come through, but I don't know.
YouTube Brian, I am still trying to learn C++. That's a fun idea.
Yeah. I haven't programmed with C++ a ton, but I think for audio that would be the best way to do it, right? And I haven't done anything with audio
Twitch,
either.
Dojo
That's why
2022, kinda like having Snoop Dogg's voice on your GPS.
Yeah, tell Google to add Snoop Dogg voice into the. They need to add a Morgan Freeman voice. That's what they need to add. Okay, well, this was a pretty choppy, crappy day. We could have taken that short, but I don't think so. It was 21 ticks down. I mean, it would have been an amazing trade.
YouTube, Luis Alarid, I would like a dark low Latino voice.
And unfortunately, they don't have accents. They have like 5 voices right now. You can go, if you search for Google text to speech, and then they have a little website where you can learn about how it works. Because I'm not processing it on my machine. What I do is I send a request to Google, and then they send me the audio file back, and then I play it. So, and I'm using Node, which is like Node is not very good for audio, of course. Otherwise, I would make the thing that, well, maybe it is possible to do it with Node to, read my microphone, and if I'm saying something, not start a message. But see, here we go. The Hill public opinion poll shows shift in favor of impeaching Trump. Well, that's
Twitch,
not exactly
Dojo
what they say.
2022. So Google has all our trade ideas.
It has all of our chats, so I guess yeah. I wonder what they probably could do any kind of processing that we want. But we can. Well, I mean, they had it anyways because you're sending it through YouTube, right? They'd certainly keep all those chats. Okay, I should go though. It's time to take the kid in, and I need to post my notes and everything like that. So I'm gonna sign out. Make sure you check out the video here. Let me post the link for it again. If you haven't checked out the video, go watch the video. Give it a like, give it a comment. If you leave a comment on it, that really helps. And I respond to every comment. I'd love to argue with you guys if you want to argue about technical analysis. And so do that. And then I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully you have more opportunity then. And in the meantime, stay